What's going on YouTube? So as you may have heard, Toyota has brought back the Venza nameplate, fitting it in between the RAV4 and the Highlander within their very robust lineup of crossovers. But the Venza has a lot of unique things going on with it, like the fact that it's only available as a hybrid and has a couple cool features that are exclusive to just it within the Toyota lineup. But does that mean this is the Toyota crossover to buy? We spent the last week testing it to find out. So the Venza immediately differentiates itself from the other Toyota crossovers, and particularly the RAV4, in the way that it looks. They've gone for a very clean and sophisticated, as well as premium design that doesn't look rugged at all like what the RAV4 is going for. So up here in the front with your grille, the top part's going to be finished in this gray finish. It's basically a fake grille with these little lines drawn through it. You have your blue Toyota badge because, like I said, all the Venzas will be hybrid. And then down below you have the large triangle shape. This is where the air, of course, will go in. And then you've got the silver accent on your XLE and your limited trim levels. Now, going in with that premium look will be premium LED headlights. So all the Venzas will come standard with LED headlights. However, if you choose the XLE or the limited trim level, you'll get the upscale projector LED headlights, as well as these premium looking daytime running light and turn signal indicators. Now down below here, you'll notice something a little interesting. We do have a cutout for fog lamps, but fog lamps are actually not available on any trim level of the Venza. Moving next to our wheel options, you've got just two with the Venza. You're going to have an 18-inch contrast alloy on your base LE trim level, and then the XLE and the limited trim level will come with these very nice looking 19-inch chrome finished alloys, which just add to that luxury look. Now, coming up, of course, you have hybrid badging. The mirrors are actually going to be pretty loaded as standard equipment with the Venza. So you've got the body color, you've got heating, you've got power fold, and you have blind spot monitoring on every single model. The one thing that the Limited does add by itself is going to be a Venza projection puddle lamp. Now the Venza is all about style, and you can definitely tell that here at the side since you have a really cool design that has kind of a sloping roof line. As far as the actual sizing, this is around 6 inches longer than the RAV4, 8 inches shorter than the Highlander, so it fits kind of right in between those two products. Now walking around to the rear design of the Venza, you're going to have a very classy Lexus-like look. I'm a really big fan of how this design kind of goes in and has a very cohesive look. As you can see, we have the most prominent element would have to be these LED taillights. They stretch the entire length of the vehicle, and they are a really nice LED design, especially at nighttime when I've seen it. And then if we drop down to this area, you're going to find your turn signal and your reverse light, which are also both LED. I'm happy to see that. And then if you go for one of the higher end models, you will have this chrome accenting right here. And then dropping further below that, I'm also very pleasantly surprised to see that we have dual real exhaust pipes, even though this is a hybrid model. Now when it comes to safety, you should probably know by now that Toyota doesn't really mess around. So they're going to throw in their entire 2.0 Safety Sense suite on this Venza model. So that's going to be forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane keeping assist, auto high beams, and adaptive cruise control. Well guys, as you can see, this Venza is very, very stylish on the outside, and I know they've packed in a lot of style and luxury on the inside as well. So let's go ahead and check that out. But before we do that, hit that subscribe button down below. It really helps us out and it doesn't cost you a thing. So walking up to the Venza, you will find a standard smart entry system with a specific Toyota key fob, as you can see, branded for just the Venza. And then to get inside the vehicle itself, just reach behind the handle. When you unlock it, your mirrors will fold out. And then when we open up the door, you will be greeted with a very premium looking cabin. Part of that premium cabin look has to do with the materials and the color options, so let's talk about those first. So your LE trim level will come standard with cloth seating. Your XLE will come standard with Softex faux leather. and a cloth combination seat. And then when you get to this limited trim level, or also optional on the XLE, you get the full Softex leatherette in your choice of black, gray, or what we have on this model is the fanciest option, a black and a brown combination. Now, turning over here to your door trim, they've done a very nice job with this. You have that same combination of black, brown, and gray leather all through here. It even runs across this upper part. You've got lots of stitching details, so this is a very premium feeling and looking door trim. We do also have a faux wood that runs around the window switches, and these windows are going to be one-touch auto up and down for all four. We do also have two-person memory seating. That's included with the limited or optional on the XLE. And then stooping down here to your seats, every single model is going to come standard with the 8-way power adjusting seats with 4-way lumbar support. And then, like I was already mentioning, we do have the full Softex leatherette seats. These are really nice and comfortable seats. I do like what they've done with the stitching up here at the top as well. It gives it a nice, elaborate, and kind of fancy look. Now, like I was mentioning, this really has a nice and upscale cabin, and you notice that from the second you get inside. So taking a look at our materials, we're going to have soft touch plastics up here across the upper dashboard. As we move down lower, Toyota finishes pretty much all of these areas in a nice leatherette material with stitching details and color contrast accents. Going down the center console here, you see we have brown soft touch plastic. We have a nice brown leather console where your knee can touch against, and I really like the design of this, how it kind of flows up into this storage area. And then again, you'll find some more of this faux wood trim, which looks pretty nice. So overall, very premium looking cabin. Now to start it up, put your foot on the brake and press the button which is located over here. Now, of course, being a full hybrid model, when you start it up, you won't necessarily hear an engine fire up. You'll just get the little notification that it is ready to go. As you can see right now, we're in the EV mode. And then taking a look at our gauge cluster here. The base LE is going to have a 4.2-inch multifunction display. The rest of the models will have this 7-inch multifunction display. And then you will have the dedicated hybrid gauge over there. As far as information on this, this has all the typical stuff you expect. Plus also including things related to your hybrid drive system. And in addition to that, this model, the limited with the advanced technology package, this is going to throw in a really large head-up display. It's a little hard to see right now, but it's very big and very vivid in person. And this also, like I said, includes your hybrid drive information, lane keeping assist, your speed. Very helpful display in day-to-day driving. Now, pulling back here to the steering wheel, Toyota nicely includes leather wrapping as well as power adjustment, which I was surprised to see on every single trim level of this Venza. If you want heating, you can get that with the limited trim level. And then we also have rain sense wipers with the advanced technology package on this limited trim level. But now I want to go ahead and talk about your interior storage, because this is one area where it's kind of small for this category of vehicle. It's actually going to be smaller than what you get in a RAV4. But let's take a look first at our center console here. The first thing you're going to be greeted with is this little tray here. This is removable. You will also notice it's got these little inserts. These here are actually made to go inside of your cup holders and adjust the height of those, so that's kind of a nice touch. And then looking at our center console here, you'll see that it is pretty nicely sized, relatively deep, does have a felt lining at the bottom. And when we get our coupons out, these are going to fit in here, no problem, and we'll be able to shut the door just fine. Now up in front of that, you got those two cup holders I just showed you guys. But otherwise, there's not really a great deal of places to stick things. You're going to have to go all the way up here to this bin, way back here. This is going to include a wireless phone charging pad as standard equipment, which you can turn on right there. You also have some connections right through there, but you're not going to find any pass-throughs or storage shelves or anything like that, which you get in the RAV4. Now, taking a look at our shifter here, it is going to be mounted right here in the center. It's a nice traditional style, so it's easy to use. Just going to pull back for drive, Bump over here to the left if you want to do some manual shifting through simulated gear changes, but there are no paddle shifters. And then heading into reverse, this is where you're going to find a standard backup camera on all of the models, or this limited trim level is going to throw in the 360-degree camera system. As you can see, you do have active trajectory, parking sensors, and both of your views nicely there. Additionally, you can press on the camera button off to the side of the steering wheel to have a 360-degree spin around the vehicle. Then up in front of that, you got your electronic parking brake with your brake hold function. You also have a few different drive modes and a button here to go into the EV mode. Now I want to come back here to our seat controls. So you're going to find 3-stage heated seats on all but the base model, and then 3-stage ventilated seats. Those are going to be included with the limited trim level, or they're also available on the XLE if you choose the optional Softex leatherette seats. And this armrest does adjust to cover those up if you want this to be a little bit closer to the steering wheel. Alright, but now I want to talk about this whole area, because this changes depending on which trim level you choose. So your LE and your XLE are going to come standard with an 8-inch display. However, you'll notice on this model we have the 12.3-inch display. This is standard on the limited and optional on the XLE. If you choose that, this is going to, of course, change the display, but it's also going to change this area down below, which is our climate and our audio controls. So what you'll notice is we actually have touch-sensitive controls down here for the climate. No matter what, you're going to have a dual-zone automatic climate control setup, but if you choose the 8-inch display, you'll have physical controls, and if you choose the 12-inch display, that's where you have the touch capacitive controls. Operation of this is not too bad, although I will say, compared to the last Venza I was in, it is more difficult to use these touch capacitive controls versus the regular ones. Now the same also goes for your audio controls. So you'll notice this is our volume controls over here. A little bit harder to use, but you do have the steering wheel controls as well. And you'll have a standard 6-speaker sound system, a 9-speaker JBL premium sound system with this limited trim level, and we'll go ahead and take a sample of that right now. Yeah, so overall sound quality of this system is top-notch. We've really enjoyed this for the last 7 days, particularly the subwoofer, which generates quite a lot of bass. Okay, so that's going to conclude what I want to talk about in this area. So let's return back up here to the display. This, of course, is running the newest version of the Intune software. With the 12-inch display, you do have split screen abilities, so you'll notice you have this secondary display over here, which can contain different kinds of information. You can also press this button right here, which will change the side, so you can get that on the right or the left side. Your controls are going to be down here for your menu and stuff like that. And you do have built-in navigation with the 12-inch display. All the models will have standard Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities. Now moving up above that, we do have an auto dimming mirror with HomeLink remotes. And since this is the limited trim level, we can flip this switch. And this is actually the rear camera mirror, so this will cut out all your back obstructions and give you that live camera feed. And then as we move on above that, we come to another interesting feature for this Venza. As you can see, we do have a panoramic sunroof. This is going to be optional on the limited trim level, and this is called the Stargaze panoramic sunroof. The reason being, as you can see right now, it is frosted, but at the push of this button right here, it magically turns into transparent, so you can turn this on and off anytime you want to. Pretty neat feature. And I will also point out, when you turn the vehicle off, it will automatically go into the frosted mode, so that will keep the cabin from getting hot and you don't even have to worry about closing the sunshade. But I should mention, this is fixed, so it does not open. Alright, so join me in the back of the Venza's rear seat. Now let's talk about the space figures first. We're going to have 38 inches of legroom, 39 inches of rear headroom, which does place it right on par with that of the Toyota RAV4. It's basically identical measurements, to be exact. It is less than the competition though. The Nissan Murano and Hyundai Santa Fe are going to be a little bit more than that. But space is certainly not going to be an issue because behind rear seating position I have, I would say, a solid 6 inches of space, and my feet can slide up underneath the seat. Now, let's turn our attention towards the features. Of course, we do have this really cool pano moonroof up top, and then if we drop down here in the center, we do have vents. Not going to have any climate controls on any of the models, but we do have 2 charging USB ports down here. I do also want to point out that heated rear seats are not going to be available on any Venza, even though that is available on the RAV4, so that's an interesting choice. And then we do have a center armrest with cup holders inside. Walking up to the tailgate, we do have a hands-free power one, and that's actually standard across the Venza lineup. So that's quite a nice feature for Toyota to throw in on all of them. So just wave your foot under the bumper to open it up. And once the tailgate does open, you're going to have 29 cubic feet of space behind the second row seats. That expands to 55 cubic feet if you fold them all down as your maximum. Now, it is worth noting that's actually around 25% less space than what you're going to get out of the Toyota RAV4. It's around 30% less space than what you're going to get out of the vast majority of the other competitors like the Santa Fe and Murano. But overall, I think that this is going to be enough space for most people's needs. And the Venza, of course, has pretty much focused on style more so than practicality here. Now, as far as how they finish the rear area, it has been done very nicely. So we do have a really nice carpeting. We have silver pieces on both sides. We also have LED lighting. And if we lift up the floor, we're going to have a spare tire underneath, and the seats do fold 60-40 split. The Limited is going to throw in a 4-way power adjusting passenger seat. And if we pop open the glove box here, it's going to be a good size glove box. This is actually really good size because we have a bunch of stuff in here already. And then if we throw in our giant stack of coupons, fits in there just fine. It's also wide enough as well. Now up top, we do have a sun visor. We have a really bright LED light as well as a mirror, and we can detach it, and we have an extension in the end. So here we are taking off with this Toyota Venza. Now, of course, as we were just starting off there, you will be in electric mode for a lot of the times, and we're in EV mode right now because as soon as you lower the power that you need, this is gonna, turn the motor off as a typical hybrid does. But when you put your foot down, power is not bad at all. This is not a gigantic vehicle, and it's going to come with that typical Toyota hybrid setup. So it's going to be a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine paired with your electric motor and a lithium battery pack. And it's going to be making a total system output of 219 horsepower. Yeah, and like Drew was mentioning, when you really do need that power and push it all the way down, it does a good job. It's definitely enough power. We're actually very impressed with Toyota's hybrid componentry here. It really is a good system, and the vast majority of the week that we've been testing this out, I've noticed that if you really keep it under 25 miles an hour and don't floor it taking off, it will just stay completely in EV mode. We've drained the battery a little bit doing our review today since we do mainly idling, but the EV mode really, really does stay on quite a lot. Right. When you finish a trip, it will tell you how much has been in electric mode, and driving around the city this week, which is what you'll probably use this for, it's very typical to see that you've been in EV mode for 70% of your drive. Yeah. And handling's not too bad either. Now we'll talk about the transmission here. This, of course, as you can probably tell, has what Toyota calls as the ECVT. It's going to respond the same way as a typical continuously variable transmission, but I will say it is nice and responsive. There really is no type of lag or anything like that. As soon as you put your foot down, you will get that extra power. Alrighty, and I do want to just go ahead and take a moment here to mention the ride quality and the comfort level in this Venza. Now, of course, this is not a hard-head sports car or anything. This is very luxury focused. Kind of think of this as like a little baby RX, if you think so. It's very luxurious. So as far as the comfort is concerned, it's really, really quite nice. It soaks up the bumps very well. The seats are also pretty comfortable, and I will get a sound level reading. I would expect that it's actually pretty quiet in here since the engine can turn off going around 60 miles an hour.
It has now turned off,
yeah.
So go ahead and get that sample.
We're looking at 55.8, which is a very solid reading. Toyota says they have added some extra sound deadening as well as acoustic glass for this Venza to give it a more premium and upscaled feel. And I can definitely tell that compared to something like a RAV4.
Right. And that today is going to be both our slam dunk and airball as far as like leading us into the topic. I feel like a lot of people are going to cross-shop this actually with the RAV4 hybrid because they're very similar in a lot of ways, including the pricing. So for the airball, it's actually going to be the fact that this is smaller than the RAV4 hybrid. You're really going to actually have less space than the smaller offering that is. So it's a little bit interesting, but I guess for the extra luxury, you have lost some of the packaging inside with the Venza.
And as far as our slam dunk is concerned, we're going to say it's luxury for the price. The Venza really does feel a lot more luxurious than something like a RAV4. We have nice leather here. The door trim is super nice. And all for a very, very similar price point to a RAV4 hybrid. So let's go ahead and discuss that. Why not? So the LE starts at $32,470. That is with standard all-wheel drive, since every Venza will have standard all-wheel drive. XLE is $36,000 and Limited is $39,800. And this one, as equipped, this is fully loaded Limited model plus the 1175 destination, and the options that you can add on it is going to come in at $43,100.
But don't think we have forgotten about what is probably one of the most important elements. You have that hybrid powertrain. What type of fuel economy are you getting? Well, it's definitely really good fuel economy. So what this is rated at is going to be 39 combined. We've been driving this week so far in probably 70% city, 30% highway. And we've been doing even better than that. We've been doing 44 miles per gallon. That's testing it out, hammering it down, driving it like we have been here, showing you off how fast it can go and stuff like that. So not exactly maybe even the typical way an owner might drive the vehicle. And that's still what we're getting. So you are going to be getting phenomenal fuel economy, and that's something that just stands apart so much from rivals like this Murano right in front of us, having that hybrid powertrain. Yeah, thinking about how much money you can save with that, you're getting almost double the fuel economy as compared to a V6 rival. And that adds up, especially as gas prices increase more and more. That certainly is going to save you a lot year over year in your cost to own. Exactly. And overall, that really just is one of the unique features about this Venza, is having that standard hybrid powertrain. And all of the things that we've mentioned with the luxury, some of the exclusive features like this stargaze, moonroof, this Venza really has a lot going for it. And it's certainly something that you should check out if you're looking in this segment, if you're looking for something that's a hybrid, even if you're looking at something like a RAV4 hybrid. These are all vehicles that you should check out and compare to the Venza.
Well guys, thanks for tuning in to this in-depth review of the Toyota Venza Limited. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. It's completely free to you, and it's going to give you notifications on our most recent automotive content, so you won't want to miss out on any of that. So be sure to hit that button. Also, tap the notification bell as well if you're interested in getting notified about our content, because we're going to have a ton more stuff coming up that you will not want to miss out on. Anyway, we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.